Hello YNABers, my name is Jesse Meekum from YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. I did, that's why I started this whole thing quite a long time ago. Today I want to talk about Rule 1, where we are talking about giving every dollar a job, and coupled with that the idea of budgeting to zero. When we're teaching this to people, we often say, hey, we always say, only deal with money you have on hand. Don't introduce variables into a process that is already intimidating for a lot of people. Just deal with the money you have on hand, whether it's $1, $10, or $1,000. So then we can ask the question, what should this money do before you're paid again, before new money comes in? And then people can get their arms around that, and it's a good thing. So a lot of times people have said, you need to budget to zero. Get your to be budgeted to zero, budget to zero. Give every single one of those dollars a job. That is correct. What we don't want to do is think that because giving every dollar a job is so important, that it means that we must consistently, day and night, at every moment, make sure that that to be budgeted number remains at zero. That's not the intention of the rule. The rule is to give every dollar a job. So when you do sit down for a budgeting session, you will give every single one of those dollars a job, but you are not required to, you shouldn't think that you need to maintain that number at zero as new money comes in. I mean, what if you earn tips or whatever and have income daily? So that brings me to the point of this Whiteboard Wednesday, which we talk about the benefit of budgeting, and we could talk for hours about that, and then the frequency, meaning the number of times you sit down and work through your budget. Not just check a category balance before you spend, you should. And frequency could be high if you're spending frequently. But I'm talking about sitting down and giving every dollar a job. How often should you do that? That's the frequency here. You'll notice that we approach an asymptote that I made up right about here, where the benefit derived from more frequent budgeting sessions, it starts to really have diminishing returns. And there's this line here that was scientifically proven to show that about where we start to see a tailing off of the benefit as it relates to the frequency. When you're first starting, you're just starting here and you're saying, hey, I'm going to increase the frequency of my budgeting. I'm going to do this daily. I am in the budget, tweaking, moving, changing, adjusting, thinking, pondering, prioritizing. Fantastic. You're right in here and you are seeing massive benefit. It's exciting. It's kind of addictive, some people have said. Then you get to this spot where you kind of become habitually aware of your finances, where, I'm sorry to say this, but for a lot of people it starts to become kind of boring. I mean, the holidays roll around and the money's just there to spend, or vacation comes up and the money's there to spend, or the car breaks down, a big repair, and there's money there to fix the car. It's kind of boring. And that's why all the stress goes away, because unboring finances, exciting finances are really stressful finances, and we want things boring. So you get to this habitual awareness where you don't need to sit down with your budget daily, every other day, every few days. You just don't feel like you need it. Some people, it's kind of a hobby of theirs. We don't include them here. They just love reconciling. We don't include them. We just say, hey, for those people that just want the benefit of the budgeting without having it become another hobby, this is for them. So you will find the frequency that works for you, where you can sit down and say, what should this money do before I'm paid again? There is one more thing that is kind of tied into this scientific dashed line, which is the cushion. As your cushion increases, as you're able to age your money and fund more and more in the future, spending dollars that are older and older, as you're doing that, your cushion increases. And that also lets you probably dial back the frequency with which you need to sit down and ask, what should I do with this money before I'm paid again? Because you've got a little cushion. It's, you're sitting in February and you've got March already budgeted, maybe even some of April. That's just cushion. It happens. It's a natural byproduct of being aware of your money and prioritizing for the here and now, prioritizing for those true expenses that come down the pipeline, those larger, less frequent expenses that you have to deal with. It's a matter of you adjusting and staying in the game by rolling with the punches with the third rule. And finally, it's just a matter of you funding in the future. Starting to send money ahead to your future self, spending money that's always older. And right there, as you build up that cushion and increase that habitual awareness, you'll find you'll find that there's a rhythm for you. Just kind of a natural budgeting rhythm. For me, weekly, especially with the new direct import with the new YNAB, it's super easy just to click and then approve, make sure I stay on top of transactions that weren't entered on the phone from me or Julie. And so about weekly, I just like to keep it nice and up to date. I might juggle money around a little bit and make sure that all the category balances are green. I don't like to see yellow or red. And then monthly, of course, we sit down and we decide, what do we want this month to look like? And part of that's just, having money do its job. Its job is not to become a hobby, really. If you love it, no judgment. But you might find that it's nice to pick up other hobbies and just have money kind of be out of the way so you can live your life. Something to think about. I will see you guys next week.